Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the chart for the United States of America so that we can better understand when will this virus start to really subside. And I think we're going to find our answer by looking at this chart. Now, this chart has been derived, or should I say rectified, by Vedic astrologer James Kelleher. So we call this the Kelleher chart. And I think it works beautifully. So let me go ahead and put this chart up here so that you can see what I'm talking about. This is the chart for the United States, and the time is July 4th, 1776 at 6:30 p.m. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So if you'll look at this chart, the ascendant is 8 degrees of Sagittarius. And this was the degree mark that both Mars and Ketu were around that degree almost exactly on September 11, 2001. Mars and Ketu together can represent war, fighting, attacks. But now we have the Mars Ketu together on the ascendant, and what do we have? Attacks that are in the form of a virus. Now Rahu has been in Gemini, and so remember Rahu and Ketu, they're always exactly opposite. So if we have Ketu around the time around 8 degrees of Sagittarius on the ascendant, then we have Rahu at 9 degrees of Gemini. But the nakshatras they're in are so meaningful as to what is happening. Because Rahu is in the nakshatra Ardra. Symbol is a teardrop. It's ruled by the howling winds, Rudra, and pretty much does denote tragedy. While Ketu, being in the nakshatra Mula, is the nakshatra of destruction, ruled by goddess Noriti, which is the goddess of destruction. So when we have these Rahu and Ketu in these particular nakshatras, of course this is where the eclipses are going to be falling for the year, and these nakshatras are so reminiscent. Every time Rahu and Ketu have gone in these nakshatras, something very difficult befell on the United States. I think I've made this point very clear. So we've got this going on right now. But here's why I wanted to show this chart. Not only will we have, by September, I think it's around September 19th, we will have Rahu will shift into Taurus and Ketu will shift into Scorpio. This is a rebuilding time. Things are having to be put together. So by September, right after Rahu crosses over Mars, there's going to be a big change. And this change will point us in a different direction than we've been working on with this virus, because we have something else to focus in on once we get them in a different sign. But for right now, in the month of April, we have Pluto, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn all together in the sign of Capricorn. Notice what house Capricorn is in this chart. The second house of money and finances. What? That's exactly what's befalling onto this nation. Major repercussions with the financial markets, with money. And if you'll look, Ketu is 15 degrees of Capricorn. As Mars and Saturn cross over this point, recognize that the economy of the United States has fallen. It is in a difficult place. It will come back, but not right now. Right now is the time that it is at a low, low point. Saturn and Mars fight against each other. I know Mars is exalted in Capricorn, extremely strong and powerful, and it actually disposits to the planet next to it, Saturn, because Mars is in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So Saturn gains the power. But Saturn is depressive. Saturn takes things down. And while Mars and Saturn are there is a fighting to get above water. It's not really happening right away. But Jupiter's also there. Now, Jupiter is debilitated, but the rules are when a debilitated planet is with an exalted planet, which Mars is exalted, plus Saturn's in its dignity by being in its sign that it rules, those two planets are extremely strong and uplift Jupiter. So you see there's this battle of ups and downs, highs and lows with the economy, with the stock market, and especially once Mars hits K2, that's a real downer. That's not good, and this is going to be happening throughout the month of April. Yes, so Mars will be hitting not only K2, but prior to that, Mars is opposing Mercury, which is in the 8th house. I think a lot of things are starting to be uncovered with probably corruption behind the scenes, scandals. The 8th house is scandals. And Mercury rules the 10th house of leadership, and it's in the 8th house of scandals. Mars is triggering it. When? This is early April. Early April now. So things are beginning to unfold now with what's going on behind the scenes with the financial markets and the great hit that they have taken with Mars hitting K2 in the 2nd house. This is about mid-April and towards the end of April. April is a crazy month of obstacles and problems for what? Well, all this energy is lined up in the 2nd house. Now, Mars is going to transit on into Aquarius around May 4th. When it does, we have it in the 3rd house, which will be approaching the moon. So about mid-May, Mars is coming up to conjoin the moon. Plus, well, prior to that, actually, around June 13th, Mars is going to conjunct Neptune. And Neptune is all about deception, deceit, denial. Mars hitting that means there's going to be all sorts of things that come to a culmination point and happen concerning what? The media, the press, and anything to do with communications and travels. It's going to explode. So traveling bans may start to be fighting to open up more, but there's still a struggle. So going back to when Mars will hit the moon, actually, Mars will be hitting the moon around when it first enters Aquarius. It's going to be around May 3rd or 4th, May 4th. And about a week or two after that, Mars is going to hit the moon. Lots of communication breakdown. And that deals with travel, but it mainly deals with the media. So around the 2nd to the 3rd week of May, 2nd week of May, I'll say, watch how things come out about things that we don't know about that are not very pleasant. So that's going to be the highlight of what's going on. Now, I want you to know that when Rahu and Ketu are in Scorpio and in Taurus, as Rahu goes into Taurus, it's going to be in the 6th house of this chart. What does that mean? Well, that does mean enemies, struggles, but more than anything, it deals with health and healing. And I feel like Rahu going through this sign, which it will enter into Taurus around September 19th, and it will stay there till about the first week of April of 2022. Remember, Rahu and Ketu stay in a sign for a year and a half. And that's going to dig up a lot of things with enemies and secret enemies because Ketu's in the 12th. So all of this needs to surface. But more than anything, there'll be searches for healing and disease. And that's going to be powerful, very powerful, because that's what we're looking at and what we need. But another thing that's very important is around September 9th, Mars is going to station to go retrograde, and it will be in Aries, approximately around 4 degrees of Aries. And when Mars stations to go retrograde, especially in a powerful sign like Aries, it's going to be breakout of anger and disruption. Now it's in the 5th house, which actually, did you know the 5th house can deal with politics? Yes. And then Mars is going to retrograde back into Pisces, where it's going to station to go direct around December 14th, around 21 degrees of Pisces. Now looking at the chart of the United States, put Mars right there around 21 degrees of Pisces. It's in the 4th house, which actually means the homeland. And that can mean great disruption to the homeland. Plus, it's going to be aspecting the 10th house, which represents, in a chart like this, leadership, government, the rulers. So Mars will be aspecting Saturn, which means major setbacks and delays with leaders. This is right after the supposed elections. Something is reversing. Something is angering the people. And not only that, for it to be in the 4th house, it could even deal with some type of attacks. The homeland is being attacked. And Mars is at aspect Saturn. Saturn rules what? The 2nd house of money and the 3rd house of communications. People will be angry. Probably they're saying the votes, they weren't done properly. People are fighting, protesting. This is the anger that's taking place in the homeland. And it's about money issues as well, because Saturn rules the 2nd. So you can see that this is all evolving more and more to a crisis. To a crisis about what? Politics, political leaders. This is an incredible time of change and disruption. Now, I gotta say this, that these elections are going to not be peaceful, not be calm, and what could come of this? We've got to take control of ourselves, to let ourselves be out of control. We will destroy ourselves. So let me just put that out there. May the best thing for the world happen at this time. We may not know what it is, but we can't let anger and hostility destroy us. And for that matter, anywhere in the world. But I just wanted you to see how this chart for the United States is so eventful, meaningful, and accurate. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me or receive my free newsletter, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to learn Vedic astrology from me, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.